The storm hit the city harder than anyone expected. Rain hammered against the pavement, thunder cracked across the sky, and the early evening turned into a gray blur of panic and rushing footsteps. But in the middle of that chaos, on a cold, empty street shining with reflections of streetlights, Michael Carter froze when he saw something that carved straight into his heart. A little girl, no more than 5 or 6, sat trembling on the wet ground, her tiny arms wrapped around her knees, her blonde hair soaked flat against her face. She was crying silently, the kind of cry that comes from fear so deep it steals your voice. And for reasons he couldn't explain, Michael felt an instinctive pull toward her, like fate had gripped him by the collar and refused to let him walk away. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us of the good still left in the world, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly supports the channel and helps us bring more heart-touching stories to you. Michael was not the kind of man who ignored someone in need. Not anymore. Life had hardened him, broken him in places he was still learning how to mend. A year ago, he lost his wife to an unexpected heart condition, leaving him alone to raise his 3-year-old daughter, Emily. The grief had swallowed him whole, leaving him stumbling through days with a hollow ache in his chest. Being a CEO had once been his identity. Strong, confident, respected, but now even the sound of his daughter's laughter sometimes made tears threaten behind his eyes. He tried to be strong for her, but loneliness was a heavy anchor. Seeing the little girl now, alone, frightened, and lost in the rain, reopened a part of him he'd been trying to protect. He knelt beside her, ignoring the cold water soaking through his jeans. For a moment, she didn't look at him. Her fragile body was shivering so violently that Michael feared she might be in shock. He gently touched her cheek, and she flinched, but her eyes finally lifted to meet his. Those soft blue eyes weren't just afraid. They were devastated, as if the world had already taken too much from her. Michael spoke softly, though no words were exchanged in dialogue format. He asked where her parents were, whether she was hurt, and what had happened. Her small hands curled tighter, and she pressed her trembling lips together, as if trying to remember how to speak. When she finally managed to get a few broken words out, Michael's breath stilled. Her name was Lily, and she was alone. As he looked at her, so vulnerable, so heartbreakingly lost, his protective instincts roared awake. He carefully removed his jacket and wrapped it around her tiny body, feeling how cold her skin was. He didn't know what brought her here, why she was alone, or what pain she carried, but he knew one thing without doubt: he couldn't leave her there. Not now, not ever. Michael scooped her into his arms and hurried toward the nearest sheltered cafe that was still open during the storm. The warm air inside wrapped around them instantly, and he settled her into a corner booth, rubbing her arms to help her warm up. The storm continued to rage outside, but in the small glow of the cafe lights, he could finally see Lily clearly. Despite her fear, she was an extraordinarily beautiful child, with an innocence that made his heart ache. The waitress rushed over with a blanket and hot chocolate, and Lily clutched the cup with both hands as if it were her lifeline. As the warmth returned to her little body, she began to talk, slowly at first. Michael didn't push her, he simply listened. She told him that she lived with her mother, and things had been hard for a long time. Her mother worked 2 jobs, and Lily had learned to spend most afternoons alone. But then her voice cracked when she said something that made Michael's entire body go numb. Her mother had once told her about a kind man, a man she described as a guardian heart, someone she believed would one day appear in Lily's life if she ever desperately needed help. Her mother never gave the man's name. She only said that he was good, tender, and strong, that he helped people in ways he didn't even realize. Michael felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest. Not because he believed Lily was referring to him, he didn't, but the idea of a mother telling her child about someone like that, the idea of a parent hoping the universe would protect their little one when they couldn't, it broke something inside him. He asked gently what happened to her mother. Though he already feared the answer, Lily's eyes welled up again as she whispered that her mother had collapsed at home earlier that day. She had been taken away by an ambulance while Lily hid because she was scared, confused, and didn't know what to do. She didn't know where to go, so she ran outside, hoping someone would help her. The storm had caught her midway, leaving her stranded on the empty street where Michael found her. In that moment, everything inside Michael shifted. He remembered the way he had felt when his own wife's heart stopped beating. The same helplessness, the same disbelief, the same desperate wish to turn back time. He knew exactly what Lily was going through, even if she didn't fully understand it herself. As he sat there watching her clutch his jacket and sip her hot chocolate with trembling lips, Michael realized something with absolute clarity. This encounter wasn't an accident. It wasn't coincidence. It was a moment that had been shaped by something bigger than chance. A moment where two broken hearts had collided in the middle of a storm, both needing something they couldn't name. He called his friend Mark, who worked in social services, explaining the situation. While Mark made arrangements to verify Lily's identity and check on her mother's condition, Michael never let Lily out of his sight. She clung to him with a trust that stunned him, as if she had known him far longer than the few minutes they had shared. When Mark arrived, Lily tightened her little hands around Michael's arm, refusing to let go. And for reasons he couldn't yet comprehend, Michael didn't want her to. The hours that followed were long and emotional. Michael drove Lily to the hospital, staying by her side as the doctors explained that her mother had suffered a severe stroke. She was unconscious and unstable, her survival uncertain. Lily's soft sobs echoed in the sterile hallway, and Michael knelt beside her, holding her tightly as she cried into his shoulder. He didn't speak. Instead, he let his warmth, his presence, and his steady heartbeat offer the comfort she so desperately needed. Over the next few days, Michael stayed deeply involved. He visited Lily daily, brought toys and books for her, and introduced her to Emily. The two little girls connected instantly, playing together with an innocence that made the adults around them smile sadly. Watching them, Michael felt something inside him begin to heal, something he had believed was permanently damaged after losing his wife. When Lily's mother passed away on the fourth day, the world seemed to collapse around the little girl. Her small body shook with grief, and she buried her face in Michael's chest, crying until she had no tears left. The hospital staff handled the situation with care, but in Lily's mind, only one person made her feel safe: Michael. Legal steps were taken quickly. Mark guided Michael through emergency fostering procedures while the longer adoption process was initiated. Michael didn't hesitate. He didn't second guess. He didn't wonder whether he could handle another child, another heart to protect. He simply said yes. Because somewhere between that stormy night and the long days that followed, Lily had carved her place into his heart. He brought her home on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Emily greeted her with open arms, excited to have someone new to play with. Michael took Lily's tiny suitcase in one hand and her much tinier hand in the other, walking her through the house that would now be her safe haven. He showed her the bedroom he had set up for her, painted in soft lavender colors with plush blankets and stuffed animals arranged neatly on the bed. That night, after reading Emily and Lily a bedtime story, he stood at the door watching them both drift into peaceful sleep. The soft glow of the nightlight washed over their faces, and he felt something rise inside him. A mix of grief, gratitude, and overwhelming love. He realized that even though life had taken so much from him, it had also given him something new, something unexpected, something beautifully fragile. He thought about Lily's mother and her words to her daughter about a kind man, a guardian heart. Michael had no idea who she meant, whether it was someone real or simply a mother's hopeful expression of faith in the goodness of strangers. But as he stood in the hallway of his quiet home, listening to the soft breaths of two sleeping little girls, he knew one truth beyond doubt: fate had brought Lily to him for a reason, and he was determined to honor that reason for the rest of his life. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating emotional and inspiring stories. Before the ending, here's a special request. Comment: guardian hearts still exist if you believe kindness can change someone's life forever. Michael turned off the hallway light and whispered a final promise to the darkness, a promise he intended to keep, that no matter what the future held, Lily would never be lost again. She had found her safe place, she had found her family, and in giving her a second chance at life, Michael had unknowingly given himself one too.